Hello, witches. Grab your goat, grab a martini, because it is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Yes, indeed, we're stepping back in time, way back in time to the 90s, even before. How about the 1930s? Put on a hat. We did. Grab your goat, and here we go. Today, we are talking about The Shadow, or Alec Baldwin movie of The Shadow, and we want to know what you think about it. Who are we, you say? We are the witches. We are the Witches Movie Coven. I am one of your hosts. I am Patti Negri. You might know me from The Witching Hour or Ghost Adventures or Portals to Hell or Bathroom Walls Across America. But let me pass this on to my beautiful and amazing co-host. Let's start out with the ever chapeaued Jason Mankey.
I am Jason Mankey. I do not wear hats. I am wearing this hat in honor of Richard-Lael's birthday, and it was the only hat that I could find, and I am embarrassed to be wearing it. But that's what we do on this show. I'm the author of several books. This is one of them. This is The Horn God of the Witches. There are actually 10. I've written 10 books. Woo! And that's me.
Thank you very much. Now let's move over to the other chapeaued gentleman, Richard-Lael Lillard, looking a little green today.
Well, thank you. I felt like it sort of got the mood lighting of the pulp fiction novels of the 30s. Yes, Richard-Lael is my name. It is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a. I am well known as the gentleman psychic. I'm a psychic medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. That being said, hit these buttons. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave the comments. It feeds the algorithm. It helps us to bring content to viewers like you. It means more to us than you could say. You could also go over to the QR codes, join the coven over here. It's mysterycontrol.com. You can wear our clothing. You can sleep with me if you like to. You can get into Patty's panties. You could do bro witch things. You can snuggle in a Heather Greene I don't mind it shirt. You can do all of those things right over there. So make certain you hit the like, subscribe, and all of that stuff.
Thank you very much, sir. And now, last, never least, our own very beautiful and smart and intelligent femme fatale, Heather Greene.
Hi, I am Heather Greene, and I am here to fully dressed in one of my favorite style decades, so I could not resist. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, which is a definitive guide to witchcraft in film and television, as well as an author, as well as an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, working with many other authors who cover and talk about witchcraft and the occult, as well as an editor. I am all over the place tonight, as well as a journalist covering the occult and mainstream. And I'm super glad to be back to start our 2026 season with my favorite coven.
Yay. Thank you so much. So much. Now, hopefully you guys all watched it, that you do like us and subscribe to us and watched The Shadow. But just in case you didn't, Richard-Lael, do you have one of your thorough, complete, unbiased synopsises of this very special film?
I do indeed. Who knows what evil lurks within the hearts of men? The Shadow knows. So, The Shadow, 1994, Alec Baldwin. This is inspired by the pulp fiction of the 1930s. And then there was a radio show. And then he got his own radio show in the late 30s, and it lasted throughout the 40s. But it is about a man who was an American warlord, and he ended up by going over to Tibet, where he had to face his demons. He actually met with a spiritual advisor who helped him to channel his dark side into vigilantism. So he uses his psychic powers now to sort of to stop things from happening, from stopping crime. It basically reads like Batman because it inspired Batman. But he uses his powers to stop crime across the city. He clouds men's minds, and he can only be seen as a shadow. But he has this sort of telepathy with this other girl. Anyway, long story short, his uncle is the commissioner, and he's always late. And the commissioner is trying to put out this sort of APB. I don't know what an APB is. An APB on the Shadow. And so, of course, the Shadow uses his powers to tell him, these are not the droids you are looking for. You're welcome, Jason Mankey. Threw that in there for you. Anyway, he falls in love with the daughter of a man who works for the War Department, building a BOMB for the State Department. And of course, Tim Curry is there, who is this double agent. And then it turns out that the descendant of Genghis Khan had studied in Tibet under the same spiritual advisor and has used his powers for darkness. So he comes to Manhattan. He comes to Manhattan, where he tries to convince the Shadow to succumb to his darker side and to conquer the world. It ends up, of course, that we find out that Lamont Cranston, aka the Shadow, can communicate via telepathy with Lois Lane. I mean Margot Lane. Again, it inspired all of the superhero comic books that would follow. Anyway, Tim Curry ends up by being a little bit of a cad, double agent. He ends up by locking the Shadow in a water tank because, of course, it's Tim Curry. That being said, the Shadow uses telepathy to call Margot Lane to release him from the water tank. And then it ends up in a battle in this invisible hotel that everyone thought was torn down, in this invisible hotel with the Genghis Khan descendant. And it ends in, of course, illusions, glass shattering. Genghis Khan ends up by going to a mental institution where his frontal lobe has been removed, which is where all of his powers came from. And he says, do you know who I am? I am Genghis Khan. You must let me free. And the doctor comes closer. And then you realize, oh, yes, you're so funny. We have a Genghis Khan, but we also have Napoleon Bonaparte. And we have a whole collection of people who claim that they are someone they are not. So have fun in the institution. Of course, Margot Lane and the Shadow, Lamont Cranston, they end up, as far as you know, happily ever after. The BOMB is defeated. Sir Ian McKellen, as the father, is rescued. He comes through the bomb, the beryllium sphere, which I'm pretty certain I heard on what is that Tim Allen movie where there are aliens and it's a parody of Star Trek?
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest. I'm pretty certain the beryllium sphere is on that one too. Anyway, the beryllium sphere is somehow defeated, and the day is saved, and comic books forever are changed by the idea of the Shadow.
Thank you. Beginning to end, every nuance, every scene, now that you're all familiar with it. But maybe, since she's also very thorough, Heather Greene, do you have 5 more things perhaps we need to know about this film?
Sure, there's always more to know, isn't there? And maybe the comic original changed the world, but the movie did not. So let's talk about it. 1994, directed by Russell Mulcahy, and he's an Australian who has also directed Highlander, which we've done here, I believe. We did a one on here. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. Started out with mostly music videos is what he was known for, but he's done a bunch of stuff. Yeah, there's Tales from the Crypt, Teen Wolf, etc. So this movie was cost $40 million, and to date it has only earned $31+ million. Most of 36% of that was opening night. So that's not so good. It was pretty much a bomb. That's why we don't have a musical version of The Shadow, Richard-Lael, which you clearly could have starred in. Now let's talk about context. This period of time, early 90s. So we mentioned Batman. I think it was Richard-Lael, you mentioned Batman. So Batman came out, it was released in 1989. This was a period of time in the late 80s, going into the 90s, generally in our culture, where we were first seeing this interest in the anti-hero, in the dark superhero, in this sort of pulp era of this sort of exploring the other sides of heroism and other sides of goodness. And you would, or ways to be good, or ways to handle. Gen X, essentially coming of age at that point, was trying to reject what the 80s was. And so you see that music, you see that it's this grittier kind of exploration of cultural content. And you see this a lot in the late 80s into the 90s. And you have a rash of these dark superhero films, these pulp hero films, and also a lot of film reckoning back to the film noir, to the 40s era, which is fascinating. So you have like the same year, 94, The Crow is out, Spawn, Dick Tracy, which is not the same exactly, but it recalls the same era, of course. And it had Madonna, so I had to mention it. Dracula is out in 92. Again, not exactly the same, but we're still looking at that gritty hero kind of contemplation of a darker side of our society. Darkman, 90s. Phantom, 97. Of course, the Batman there were multiple of them. People blame this kind of trend on the success of Batman and also Sam Raimi, and we've done some of Sam Raimi's films, of course, Darkman, 1990. So this was a thing. This was something that this film was pulled out of the ashes of the past to fit into this era. Like I said, it may have started something back in the 30s, but in the 90s it was brought into something that was happening. Batman really started it, or was really the biggest piece of it. Tim Burton and Batman, this sort of darker idea where there is goodness, this grittier success of the hero. So we see this in that period of time. So again, we've already mentioned the origins of this. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows. Right on.
You do that better than Alec Baldwin.
I said that earlier. I agree. 1930 is when the show first aired, and actually it wasn't. He was the narrator. The Shadow was a narrator of a CBS program called the Detective Story Hour. This is radio time. In 1932, he was so successful, he got his own show, but not as the narrator, but the main character. What we see today, what we know today. He was played by different people. Interestingly enough, he was played for about a year by Orson Welles, of course, famed radio actor, caused a little bit of a stir at one point with his radio voice, with the War of the Worlds. But Orson Welles was short-lived. Interesting note, we want to always connect it back to witchcraft. Agnes Moorehead. Who is Agnes Moorehead, my team here? What did she play?
Endora,
thank
Batman.
you. She actually was Margot Lane when Orson Welles was the Shadow. So that's a really interesting little tidbit. The show eventually ended in 1954, but is now in the Radio Hall of Fame. So that's really a cool little thing. Let's talk about some of the actors. Alec Baldwin, who's been mentioned. I think we saw him on Beetlejuice. He has been so many things. He's been in 30 Rock. He's been in the news lately. We don't have to talk about that. He's been in so many things. I don't think we need to go through what we've seen him. I recently watched him in Glengarry Glen Ross, which is a fabulous film also from the 90s. He's also in Still Alice, which is another fabulous film I've seen in the last year, which is he's been in so much stuff. We can all name films where we've loved him or hated him, I'm sure. Peter Boyle, another classic actor. I think if Everybody Loves Raymond, of course. He was in Young Frankenstein, which is you cannot get streaming for some reason. I can't figure that out. Monsters Ball. He's been in everything from comedy to serious stuff. Of course, he was the chauffeur, I believe, in this one. We have Penelope Ann Miller, who is Lois Lane. Excuse me, what? Margot Lane? She was a face recognizable at the time. She hasn't been too much lately, but she was in Reagan, which I have not seen, 2024. But she's known for Biloxi Blues, Carlito's Way, and a lot of stuff during that period of time. Jason, you know her from something?
I was just cringing when you mentioned the Reagan movie is all.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say. So I'll leave it. I'll trust you on that one. Jone Lone. He is he's the Genghis Khan character. Of course, he was got awarded or was nominated for his role in The Last Emperor. That's what he's most known for. He was also in a bunch of stuff at the time. We have to mention Ian McKellen. How could you not? Lord of the Rings, Gandalf. That's what most people recognize him as, but he has been in everything. He was knighted. He's considered one of England's top actors, top British actors is what I was saying. He was recently in Beauty and the Beast, Hobbit, X-Men. I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. And I guess we probably all have movies we love with Ian McKellen. And finally, there are other actors, but I'm only going to mention one more, Richard-Lael, for you. And I know this is probably why you picked this movie, Tim Curry. How everybody loves Tim Curry, and probably everyone has a favorite Tim Curry movie. We have Legend, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Addams Family. He's also been in serious stuff like Hunt for Red October, which is a brilliant film, and one of my favorite and worst musical films, Annie. He played a brilliant rooster, and I don't care, probably was one of the best acting jobs in that movie itself. He was brilliant as Rooster. So he is everywhere. And you know, this was actually probably not one of his best performances, but he's there, and how could you not love him, right? So finally, number 5, I want to just mention film noir. Film noir is some people call it a genre. I call it an infection. It's a type of style of filmmaking that was very popular, mostly in the 40s and 50s, but they're kind of trying to aim for it here, even though this is the 30s, which is, there weren't film noirs in the 30s. Most of them were in the 40s and 50s. But it's a style of filmmaking. It's dark. It's supposed to bring out, either in theme and in style of filmmaking, the darkness and the undercurrents of society. It was really stylistic. And it's one of my favorite genres, concepts, styles of filmmaking in all of Hollywood. I could watch film noir movies all day long and be thoroughly satisfied. So I thought I would just bring this up. They don't do it well here, although they do have little Easter eggs, like the breaking of the glass and in the with the different mirrors and stuff like that. They do have Easter eggs to it, and they try, but it's not really film noir and true. But I thought I would just bring it up and list a couple of film noirs. If you're interested in this genre and you like this dark concept of filmmaking and themes, then you want to go back to the old days and watch the real stuff. I have some for you. Some of my favorites: Maltese Falcon, 1941, Double Indemnity, 1944, probably one of the top. Big Sleep, 1946, brilliant. Sunset Boulevard, she is always waiting for her close-up. The Killers, 1946, Sweet Smell of Success, Laura, Shadow of Doubt, Touch of Evil. These are the real film noirs, and there's so many of them. And so I urge you, if you like this style and you like this film noir dark, this is where it all came from. This is where it started in Hollywood. Go back to the real stuff. That's it.
Thank you. That is beautiful.
That's Sunset Boulevard right there. She's waiting for her close-up, DeMille. So good.
Well, before we go too far on, we do want to Richard-Lael a happy birthday.
True.
New Year's Day.
Thank you so much. Don't sing.
Birthday. And you are responsible for this lovely film.
I am responsible. Well, not for the making of it, but for the bringing it to the coven.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. Thank you. Salute. Salute.
Darling. Happy birthday, darling.
Thank you, darling. Thank you, lovely. I will say that I know it's scant on witchcraft, but if you think about the fact that he is a shadow, that he is able to cloud men's minds, and that he uses telepathy with Margot Lane, it borders on what I do anyway. So and is it the best movie ever? I mean, it's no Killing Tree, it's no Addams Family, but you know what? It is one of my guilty pleasures, because I did love the radio show from the 1930s. I am that old. I used to listen to the radio show. Maybe not when it was live, but I used to listen to the radio show, and it kept me comfort by the radio light. And I loved The Shadow. I know this movie is flawed, but I will say it is beautiful, even though it's fake noir. Now you could trash it.
I'm just going to say, I just have to jump in. You do not need to apologize for loving a movie that is terrible, because we all have guilty pleasures that we love to watch, even though we know that they're just terrible movies. They just are so much fun. So, and it's your birthday, so we will watch whatever you want, and we're going to have fun with that. So you don't need to apologize.
No. Once a year, whether we need it or not. I really wanted to like it because I like film noir, fake film noir. I like what I thought was going to be stylized. I do love Alec Baldwin, always followed him. And you see, shirtless Alec Baldwin, but something was wrong from the very beginning. I looked like a dog going tilt. Tilt. It's like, wait, okay. Oh, they're being funny, but that's not funny. They're being, that's an Easter egg, but I don't get, the whole movie, my neck is really sore from that, what neck tilt. And I really wanted to, it was pretty. Like, she's beautiful. The gown, the satin gown, that stylized.
The set is beautiful.
That is beautiful.
They used the Pantages Theater. They used, it was shot in Los Angeles. The New York City backdrop is on Universal Studios. They used Pantages Theater, and I can't remember, there's a hotel, I think in Pasadena, that they used. But anyway, they used the ballroom. So it's all very much California, but it's that Art Deco 30s, 40s, gorgeous. The suits, the clothing. But you're right. I didn't mean to interrupt again, but you're right. What was wrong is I will trash it now so that here's the deal. The connections were really all wrong. It felt like that everyone was acting on their own. No one was acting as an ensemble, but they were like, I'm Alec Baldwin, or yes, I'm Tim Curry, or and they underutilized the best parts of, like, Sir Ian McKellen, Tim Curry, what's his name, the taxi driver. All of these people were underutilized. The connections, they were kind of not so great. The acting between Alec Baldwin and Genghis Khan, not really. But it's one of the things that I can turn on and just sort of like. So yes, it's bad.
I will never understand the 90s fascination with trying to turn Alec Baldwin into an action movie star. It just has never worked for me. Like, I just can't buy it. The closest is Hunt for Red October, and then he didn't want to do any more of those films, which was a huge mistake on his part. But like the whole beginning where, Patty's cocking her head, I was also doing that. Like, is he the bad guy? What's going on? And, he's not pretty enough really to be shirtless as long as he was shirtless. He doesn't work for this film. He's the biggest problem I had with this movie. He just does not work as the Shadow. As someone who listened to the radio serial as well, which was awesome, he is not the Shadow. He couldn't even do the Shadow nose properly. All I could think of is his sweaty balls while he's doing that.
One of his best performances.
Yeah. He's a much better comic actor, I think, than a
30 Rock.
serious actor. And I think also we've seen him in 30 Rock and on SNL so much that seeing him in a role like this, you just sort of roll your eyes at. It just doesn't work.
He was really good in 30. He only had a brief role in Glengarry Glen Ross, but he did that as well. That's not an action film, so it required a different thing, and he was fine there as the jerk salesperson. He worked really well in that one. But I agree, Jason. I agree.
Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, roll with me on this one. Perhaps if in 1989, when he and Gina Davis bought that little Victorian mansion over in Connecticut, or was it Vermont, and their Volvo goes off the bridge and then upside down into the water, maybe this is the other side of the sandworms. Maybe that's
maybe.
So you're saying this is hell, and I would agree with that assessment after watching the movie. You know, it felt like bad Batman. Like, you know, we're trying to launch a franchise and it just didn't work. And I wanted to like it. And I don't have any memory of this movie. That's the kind of thing I would have been salivating over in 1994 because there wasn't that glut of superhero movie and sci-fi like we sort of have today. And I don't even remember this coming out at the time. I guess it was probably in and out of theaters so fast. No one really had a moment to really think about it. You know, all those lunch boxes never got made. The toy line probably was on clearance at Walgreens within, I don't know, 2 weeks of the movie being released.
Well, I guess I'll jump in there. I did see this in the theater, everyone. So I knew I had seen it already when you picked it, and then I couldn't remember it, though. I had very little memory of it, but then when I was watching it again, I'm like, oh my goodness, I remember that stinking dagger and talking, biting dagger thing. I'm like, I do remember it. I did see it in the theater. But obviously I didn't remember it much. And I was watching, I went to see Dick Tracy. I went to see Batman. So I saw all these movies of this type, and this one didn't stick out. And I do agree. I think Alec Baldwin is not the right person for this role. The Shadow has like the very few times he's actually the Shadow, which isn't that many. It's like almost laughable. Like, it's like, oh man, go back to your wearing your tuxedo. It's like, it's weird. It's weird, but that wasn't my biggest problem. That's one of my problems. I'll just finish and then.
Yeah, sorry. I go on. I just had a question about who you would cast.
No, that's a great question. And I think that this sort of is trying to bridge. It's trying to do the stylistic stuff that Dick Tracy did, which had its own problems. Dick Tracy. So it's trying to match that, and it's very clearly studio, which is what it should be if you're trying to match that, if you're trying to capture that pulp 1930s film noir studio film. So yeah, you're trying to get that. But then there are aspects of it. It's trying to get that stylistically, and I love all that stuff too, Richard-Lael. I love Art Deco. I would retire into our world with all of that classic Hollywood stuff. But a lot of the filming and the way it was filmed, and some of the areas where it's lit, it's so 80s. Like, not even like later 90s. Like, it's so 80s. Like, even that early part where they're in Tibet or wherever the heck they were, I'm like, this looks like a bad 1970s movie. What the heck is going on here? So I think the filming didn't match the style. And then, like you said, some of the characters, they were just acting at each other, and it just kind of like, I don't know why there was a talking dagger.
I hated that
talking. That was like the little puppy dog.
I hated the talking dagger because it wasn't funny enough to be funny or scary enough to be scary.
Like
Or-
for kids, what I mean, what was and Black Phillip like closed his eyes. He was so embarrassed. I'm like, he's
Yeah,
like, oh
I
my
was
goodness.
embarrassed.
I don't know, and so I think I would love to see them do the shadow right. I think there's a lot there, and I would love to see them do it right with the style, with the right filmmaking, with everything, with good actors.
So what if the Shadow were played by Liam Neeson? No, maybe not. You don't think so?
No, I don't.
What
I
about-
don't see Liam
what
Neeson.
if- What if
Like
the Shadow?
today.
What if the Shadow were played by Tim Curry?
Can you do that for us? Because your Tim Curry impression is good, anyways.
I mean,
No, that's Tim Curry.
No,
well, if it were made now, who would you cast as the Shadow now?
Timothy Chalamet, of course. He should be in everything.
No.
Yes, Timothy Chalamet is quite the beautiful woman.
Not Timothy Chalamet.
I know.
I would not cast. I have to think about that.
We would have to
Who would
think.
I cast?
Why did his scarf not go over his nose?
It's not
I think
COVID yet.
It's because it's the pulp fiction of the.
Is that how they did it? It looks so wrong and so uncomfortable, and it didn't hide anything. Yeah. Okay.
But that was because he had a big nose. They changed it so that he would.
So why don't we put that so Coven members in the chat, who would you guys cast as the Shadow if they redid it today? So
Jason Mankey.
Only
I
the
would-
shit.
only if you wear, only if you wear that hat.
I'm really trying to think like who I would cast, because you've got to have the right voice for it, because you have to do, the
Keanu
Shadow
Reeves.
nose, and it has to be realistic, and you have to buy it. You always bought it on the radio show, and it just didn't buy it when Alec Baldwin said it.
It has to be someone who can do that back and forth with really feel like that dark presence and do that as well as being the counterpoint, like the Batman back and forth, the Bruce Wayne
Yeah,
versus
you got to
Batman.
do your Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and so I have to think about that. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm gonna do a casting call.
Keanu's not horrible. I could see him.
I can see him.
Yeah, good choice, Victoria. I not horrible.
He could do it. I just saw him in a movie where it was the first time I really said, yeah, I'm not so sure this was right. But David Tennant, maybe.
Brad Pitt? I don't know. I don't think I can see Brad Pitt as the Shadow.
No, not Brad Pitt. I wouldn't see Brad Pitt. Christopher Lee from the 70s.
Ralph Ineson says Rob, possibly. What about Fiennes? What's his name? Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes?
Yeah, what about him?
No, Ralph Fiennes is Voldemort.
Matthew Rhys is the one I'm thinking of now. Because if you went and you watched the Perry Mason show on HBO, he was terrific in that. I think he could pull it off. I think he's got enough gravitas. I think he could do it.
Yeah. I would love to see it redone because it is such a classic in our entertainment history. It's from radio. It has so much to say about vigilantism and just sort of that darker sense of finding, like I said, the goodness and being able to find ways of doing things in the dark, the grittier side of society. This is the kind of stuff is popular now. We could totally see it, and I think if they did a good one, it would be super
There is one
popular.
in the works. They're in talks, but it's awful. They're intending to make it so that the Shadow is sent through time and goes into the future 100+ years.
No.
And I don't want to see the Shadow in 100 years. The Shadow belongs in the 30s and 40s. That is it. Maybe 1950. Maybe.
He was,
Maybe.
he was in the 1950s, and noir lasted till then. It just changes. So yeah, I agree. That would be a wrong direction. Trying to bring him into another. No, let's do it that way. It'd be super cool. And I like the idea Jordan Peele could direct. I could see that. I could totally see that.
What evil lurks in the hearts of AI? The shadow knows.
Yeah.
I think it's just they didn't have the same vision. I don't know if you blame that. I know it takes 1,000 people to make a movie, editors, lighting, set designers. But if it goes down to the director, somebody didn't have the right vision.
You know, it may have been this was 94. So Batman came out in 89. I don't know when Batman Returns was, what year that was, 92. It was shortly
92.
after. And so, you know, you have all these successful films, and when that happens, all the studios and everybody wants to get on board and ride that wave. And this might have been one of those scrambles to find a property to produce. And they grabbed Alec Baldwin because he was hot then. He was doing all the movies and he was successful, and we will throw him in. We've got, Ian McKellen has said he'd do it. We'll throw him in and patchwork it together to have something there. That may have been why it's bad too.
It was originally, the director wanted to shoot it in black and white. And I am saddened that they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The studio went, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want black and white. It's not going to be popular. Nobody likes black and white these days. And then also, even though it was the 90s, I really did not like all of the CGI. Sometimes it worked, and it worked great. Most of the time, it, even for the 90s standards, did not work.
I was sad they shot this movie. Not that.
Period. That was the end of the sentence. Oh my
Well, I know how Jason Mankey is going to vote.
Oh my
I
goodness.
can't wait to hear your Mankey movie moment.
Your
I
Mankey
bet.
movie
I
moment.
bet you're excited about
I'm
it.
so excited. I just can't hide it. I know. I want to. I
mean, any movie where Alec Baldwin's best acting is with a knife, you know, it's going to be good.
Wait, not just a knife. It has hands and feet and teeth.
Yeah.
And it barks,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, and it's pushing him around the floor, and yeah, it was great. It was just wow, what a thespian in this film, really. He just made me believe how terrifying that knife was, you know. And he brought a knife. He brought a gun to a knife fight too. That was his mistake. That was one of his mistakes there.
Really, the worst part of the film, which there's a lot of bad in my mind, was the damn knife. I don't know why. Whoever invented that.
Was that in the radio show? Was there a talking, growling knife in the
No.
radio show?
No, I mean, the radio show was interesting because it went from all manner of topics, from the supernatural, where there was witchcraft on the island, or there was someone who used psychic powers to convince someone that they were sleepwalking when they were actually awake, and you found out that he was awake and committed the murder because he dreamt in color, and in those days you didn't dream in color; it was only in black and white. That was according to the radio show. That they would have, sometimes they would be mob bosses, and sometimes it would be voodoo witch doctors who sacrifice children. 1984, Mr. Adams, please stop calling. We do not know where they meet. The radio show just dealt with a lot of. It was, an hour, 45 minutes maybe. And you would have a radio drama brought to you by Blue Coal, Clean Coal. Yeah, that was in the 30s. Much of it was sponsored by coal.
Well, you got to know what kind of coal to buy when you go by the coal aisle at the grocery store.
I guess Robert wants to know. Our beautiful, beautiful follower, Robert, we love you. Thank you for your loyalty. Can you stream the original radio dramas anywhere? You probably can, because
you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Most of the famous and popular radio shows are, you can get them on DVD. You can get them on net DVD, CD. I've seen them on. They used to even have cassettes you could buy back in the cassette days, and so they've been around forever. Yeah, and it was a different time.
It was a different time. 30 years different. But right now we would, as we get ready to go, quotes which we may, oh, look at that's ridiculous. I just don't like it.
Wait, but Patti, let me ask you a question about the dagger. So I was just thinking, looking at the picture of the dagger, like, what if your Athame had a face and a little could bark at people if they during a ritual?
Well, that might be brilliant if it wasn't that face. That I'm a comedian comic. I overact in metal face. No, I overact in metal and make faces. No, I would love a talking Athame. Yeah, I think
that would be fantastic to have a little. Mine would not want to bite anybody though. It would just yowl probably.
Mine might have vampire teeth. I have 5 knives within my 2 arms reach right now. None with a face, sadly, but it was the bad acting of the knife and the bad creation of the knife I didn't like. Look at that. Yeah. I don't know. It was like making a joke of itself and it wasn't funny. Right now is when we would normally go to beautiful Courtney quotes, and we want to wish her well. Mm-hmm. She got the flu bug and she's under the weather. So sending you so much magic and love, Courtney. We're sending you lots of things away. Does anybody else have any quotes?
There's 2 good quotes.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I only have 2. The shadow knows. And the one where he says, falling for the old illusionary exit or something about the exit. He says something about the exit. I don't know. I've seen this movie enough. I don't know. Jason Mankey, you had some quotes.
I went and I rated IMDb for quotes. And I was surprised at just how bad they all were, but I guess after watching the movie, I shouldn't have been. But the first, of course, there is the sun is shining, but the ice is slippery, which is their code for the shadow. The shadow likes to say things that sound profound. I'll be there around every corner, in every empty room, as inevitable as your guilty conscience. Yeah, sweaty balls. Yeah, it just doesn't work. In 3 days, the entire world will hear my roar and willingly fall subject to the lost empire of Shan Khan. That is a lovely tie, by the way. May I ask where you acquired it? That is an actual quote. Like the back and forth in this movie does not make sense. The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Your mind is like an open book to me. Then learn how to read. Let's see. Oh, here's the Lois Lane one with Cranston, the shadow. I'll see you later. Hey, how will you know where I am? I'll know. It's so bad. Wow, they're all so bad. Yeah. They're all so terrible.
I don't have quotes, but the sexy dream when she's like, I'm laying naked on a bed, and you come up to, and he's like, yeah, my face was ripped off.
I was lying naked on a beach in the South Seas.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
The tide was coming up to my toes. The sun was beating down. My skin was hot and cool at the same time. It was wonderful. How was yours? I dreamed I tore all the skin off my face and was somebody else underneath. You have problems. I'm aware of that. Yes.
I like that.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed was another line, which is I thought was, ruins the tone of the film. And Tim Curry's only great line was, there's a new world order coming, Shadow, and I'm going to be a king. A king. Yeah. Why was he even in this movie? He was only in it for like 8 minutes. What a waste.
I'm going to be a king.
I did have to say I loved her dress when there the scene. I think they're in the Shadow's house, and it's like a really low back black dress, and there's a fireplace.
Oh, well, it looks like she kept her figure.
Yes. Oh, but she had a dress on. I'm like, where
was
can
that
I
dress.
buy that right now?
Yes, I loved all those dresses. And
All
that
the
one,
dresses.
actually, the back cleavage all the way. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're getting so close to the end, but not. But Mr. Mankey, do you have your famous Mankey moment?
Uh-oh.
Well, of course, a good witch never stops learning. There are always more books to read, experiences to be had, and people to learn from. Over the past 3 years, I have learned a lot from our own Richard-Lael Lillard. So tonight, I present to you all the top 5 things I've learned from Richard-Lael. Number 1, you don't actually have to watch the movies we review to do this show. There's absolutely nothing wrong with turning a movie off in the middle of things and then reading the plot synopsis on Wikipedia. This is a really good thing to do if you are running short on time or just really hate whatever movie Heather has picked out for us. In fact, I haven't watched an entire movie for this show in over a year now. Did I like The Saint or whatever movie we watched tonight? I don't know. You bet. I might have. Number 2, if you are going to dream, dream big. Big, like anywhere from 14 by 14 inches to 20 by 20 inches. No, I'm not talking about Richard-Lael's Richard. I'm talking about his pillow. You know you've made it in life when you have a pillow with your likeness on it. I wanted to be the one to sleep with the world, but apparently Richard-Lael has beaten me to it. When I think I have nothing left to aspire to in life, I just remember that I'm not on a pillow, so I need to keep plugging along. Number 3. Richard-Lael was in a movie where he played a character named Legs Benedict. I didn't really learn a whole lot from that performance, but I just love saying Legs Benedict. Legs Benedict, Legs Benedict. And when I write my first erotic novel, I'm going to have a character in it named Legs Benedict. But also, I wouldn't have known Legs Benedict was a thing if I hadn't met Richard-Lael while doing this show, so I think that counts for something, which is why it's number 3. He also played a character named Mercury Peacock, which might be a new nickname for my little Richard. Number 4, it's okay to repeat a few jokes now and again. I think everyone who watches the show can recite from memory Richard-Lael's weekly introduction. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If it were just Richard, I would be a... Since I'm behind on a book right now, I'm just going to start recycling jokes too. Next week, we'll be doing How to Train Your Dragon, and I'm just going to reuse a Mankey moment from a previous episode of this show. I'll just replace every reference to the Sorcerer's Apprentice with How to Train Your Dragon. I'm sure no one will notice. Number 5, being vulnerable and honest are beautiful ways to be. I love that Richard-Lael shares his life with us, both the good and the bad parts. There are days when we do this show that Richard-Lael makes me laugh so hard he brings me to tears. And then there are moments when he brings me to tears, when he shares the difficult moments he's endured. I wish more people were like Richard-Lael. And here's a bonus, because that was too sappy. I can't go out on that. Bonus number 6, be unpredictable. Tonight's movie was Richard-Lael's pick, and I just have to ask why. Other than the presence of Tim Curry for all of 12 minutes, I couldn't figure out why Richard-Lael picked out this stinker of a film for us to watch. It's possible that he secretly hates us, and this was his way of getting revenge. I'll never get those 2 hours of my life back, and I will forever be scarred by a shirtless Alec Baldwin dressed up like a member of Poison. But if this is the kind of garbage I have to endure to do this show with Richard-Lael, I will gladly put up with it. Happy birthday, my friend.
Happy birthday.
Beautiful. Happy
That was
birthday.
really lovely.
Cheers. Ah. Okay, we have watched the film. We have got the synopsis. We have got the whole layout. Now we get to vote for it. And you guys, thank you for all your input. Your actor choices, you guys have been very active. There's some new people out there. We love you and thank you. There's some new folks. Tell your friends, come back next week. And now get your wands out or anything else you want to go up or down the shadow. Wands up or wands down?
Battle it. Hopefully it won't bite you, Richard-Lael.
No, I can't do that.
Richard-Lael wins again. Ah, down.
It's a pleasure. Put the wand up. We know you want to put the wand up.
Ah,
Yay! Okay, 3 against 1, but Richard-Lael
actually,
gets.
I'm actually going to do this. I know it's bad. I know it's a bad film.
Wands up, horns up. Look at Voodoo Lisa. Hey, from the Witch and the Weapons. Richard-Lael vote for me. So because Richard gets 4 votes today. So we won. Wands up. I saw wands neutral. We got down. This isn't as crazy as it could have been. Wands up, horns up from Lord Kelvin. I just want to say hello to all of you. We love you all. We love you too, Cosmic Michigan Priestess. We love you too.
Can I bring up a real quick? Someone just said that the witch from Weapons and the K-pop Demon Girls got critic awards. I think this year we're going to see some of the movies we reviewed here getting some really big awards, including those 2 as well as Frankenstein. So watch out for those because it's coming. Those are some top
K-pop
movies.
Demon Hunters is going to win an Oscar for best movie ever
sure.
made.
Fra-
Best movie ever made.
Not Demon Hunters, but Frankenstein, Demon Hunters, and Weapons. There's some award winners we reviewed. So
and Sinners, hopefully Sinners.
And Sinners,
wins
absolutely
Best
Sinners,
Motion
absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yes, definitely. All right. So what are we doing next week?
How to
Jason
Train
Mankey.
Your Dragon.
Oh, wait, Jason just told us.
Yes, and I believe it's the original one, right, Jason?
You can watch both, but we are doing the original animated film where Hiccup sounds like Hiccup is supposed to sound.
And we can watch, there's more than one animated film. But you're talking about the very first one.
The very first one, but you can watch all of them because they are all worth watching.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes. They will all make you cry.
How to Train Your Dragon, starting with the first. I love it. Can't be any worse than this one. And I love Alec Baldwin, and I love knives. What?
It's not worse than this one, but it is animated, Patti. So brace yourself.
Yeah, okay. Nobody.
You can watch the live action version, which is basically a shot-for-shot remake of the cartoon. Even the dragons look the same. So, if you really hate cartoons, you could do that.
Hopefully there's no dragon mutilation. I'll be fine. All right. So, anybody have anything coming up? It's a new week. It's a new year. We were mid-January. Does anybody have any events or books or openings or places you want to tell people about? Richard-Lael.
I'm here in New Orleans. I am really easy to find because I've told this joke many times. Thank you, Jason. I am here in New Orleans and I have seances that I am offering. I know we've got Valentine's Day coming up. I've got a major big seance here in New Orleans on Valentine's Day, but if you will be in and around, I would be glad to do one for you. I do tea and tarot. I am at University Magicus. I am there coming up on Sunday. So look for me there. We'll be teaching some Victorian magic in that one. That's about it. That's about it. I also filmed another movie, but I can't talk about it yet, but I filmed another movie, which is great. I was not like Benedict in that one, but that'll be coming out.
Damn it.
Right? Well, I will tell you this. I can tell you this much about it. I'm going to tell you this much. So a long time ago, when I moved to Hollywood, I met this fellow online who loved the Art Deco period. And I'm not going to tell you his handle, but I met his name. I met this guy. We talked for a while. And he says, I'd like to meet you. And I said, great. Actually, I will tell you his handle. It was TV producer. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we talked for a long time. And then he wanted to meet me and he shows up and he says, are you for real? Are you for real? You'll never play anything but a drag queen. And then I fooled him because I never played a drag queen, but a transvestite professional lady in several films. Never a drag queen. This time, I did not play a drag queen. I played the pimp. I've graduated.
Changing roles. You also worked with two dear friends of mine on a project. Yes.
Matt and Elton.
Matt Rife.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where that one is, but that was in Pennsylvania. That was some interesting things. We went to the Pennhurst. I can't go into too much detail, but we went to Pennhurst Asylum, and that was really interesting. I can tell already later on, but
that was really cool because Elton had just watched one of your ghost adventures. He goes, I need somebody like that Satan Pasadena guy. I'm like, how about the Satan Pasadena guy? He's one of my dearest friends. He's like, what? Yeah. So I can't wait to see that because those guys are great to work with. So yay.
They were really great.
Yeah. Right. Jason, anything coming up?
I will be at the two largest pagan and witch gatherings in the Midwest in February and March. I will be at Convocation outside of Detroit, Michigan, February 19th through the 22nd. And then in Minneapolis with Heather. Is Heather going to that one? Yep. Paganicon, March 20th through the 22nd. And this is not really an event, but I'm going to be in New Orleans, April 10th through the 16th. So I will finally get to meet Richard-Lael face to face, which I'm very excited about.
That is beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Heather.
I will also be at two of the largest pagan events in February and March. So I will be at Sacred Space in Between the Worlds. Sorry, Jason, won't see you in February. I'll be at the other one the same weekend, which is held in Maryland. It's going to be, there's two, this year they happen to be happening at the same weekend. They normally don't. So we have to split our time. So unfortunately,
Both
I won't
are great.
See you. What?
Yeah, both are great too.
Both are fantastic
festivals.
Events.
Yeah.
Usually Sacred Spaces in April. This year, because of the way the astrology is working out, they had it at this period of time. So unfortunately conflicting with Convocation, but I will be in Maryland then, and then I will be in Minneapolis with Jason, as he said, at Paganicon in around the equinox in March. And then in April, I will be at Austin Witch Fest. So that's my spring. So I've got 3 big events and lots of other fun things coming down the pipe. So those are some big things. I'm hoping to get out to LA sometime. We're talking about that for the summer, but let's start with spring. How about it?
Let's start with spring. Thank you. That is good. I know, because we're the only ones. You're the only one that I haven't met live. I've met Jason. I know Richard-Lael well. Courtney, just you. Yep. So I got to get there. You got to get there. Someday I'll do a pagan event, but now I'll do all the paranormal.
Well, you know what? If you can swing by Minneapolis, Jason and I will be there, and in March.
In March.
Equinox.
Where is that? What city? I'm in
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I'm going to be in Boyd, Minnesota, March 21 and 22. Is that close?
Same. I don't know. We'll have to check it out. Maybe we can make it work.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be great? So this weekend, I'm going to be in Arizona. If anybody wants to, anywhere near the Phoenix, Glendale, I've got in 2 little days, I've got 3 big events with 3 different producers, book signings, workshops, 2 seances, 2 different paranormal investigations. Just go to my website, pattinegri.com. We've got the Vampire Ball coming up in LA in February, which, get all dressed up just like this. And all sorts of great things coming up. But that's it. You guys, let all of us follow us, like us. We all have websites. We all have social media. And like Richard-Lael said in the beginning, it means to us to follow the Witches Movie Coven, to follow us individually, because that's just what this world is. So check us out. Check out our school, University Magicus. Check out, if you like paranormal spooky stuff, check out Paraflix, my streaming network. The best priced one out there. It's really good. Paraflix.com. But you got to like spooky stuff. And that's it. We have like 1 minute. Are we going to cackle, or are we going to have knives out, or what are we going to do?
I think we should fight with our wands, like the knife.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to drink my martini while you guys do it.
All right. Here we go.